Hi and welcome. My name's Dom Harter and I'm the Managing Director at Martin Audio over here in the UK. Today we've got an exciting day of product launches in both the hardware and software realms. So thank you for taking your time out of your day to join me to celebrate these launches today. Before I do that, I'd just like to comment on what turmoil our industry has been through in the last 12 months. Never before has the event production industry and the installation industry seen such upheaval. And as we enter 2021, much of that continues. However, for many of us, we are now starting to see light at the end of a very long tunnel. And I'm very much looking forward, along with all the team at Martin Audio, to building our industry back, initially on the installation side that we're seeing now in different markets around the world, and then eventually on the live event side that I firmly believe we'll see in the second half of this year. Until that happens, we're going to continue to play our part, supporting our partners and our customers through this difficult time, be that our contributions to We Make Events or just helping people try and adapt their business to this new world we find ourselves in. This year is Martin Audio's 50th year. A year in which we celebrate 50 years in this fun and vibrant industry, making products all the way from live sound in the early days, but these days everything from cafes and bars all the way up to the big festivals and arena tours that you see our MLA and WP systems deployed on. Before we get into the main event, I'd just like to thank all of our customers, supporters, users, and indeed the whole of the Martin Audio family for a fantastic 50 years in the industry together, and here's to the next 50 years and the small part I'm privileged enough to play with it. Over the last 12 months, we've been able, despite the pandemic, to have some real successes at Martin Audio. The first, perhaps, is the extension of our Adorn series to include a complete range of ceiling speakers and the company's first pendant. Similarly, the extension of our SX series subwoofers to include more cardioid variants, the SXC115 cardioid subwoofer and the SXC-F Flown 118 cardioid subwoofer, which will feature in today's launch. Perhaps the most significant was our recent announcement of improvements to the CDD range. Firstly, new 12 and 15-inch wooden cabinets with much higher production capacities, or the new 70 volt and 100 volt line CDD 8 and 10, which are also available weatherized. But the most important improvement is the inclusion of CDD within our electronics ecosystem, including full FIR presets for the whole family to get the best acoustics performance possible. But that's enough of that. Now on to the main event. So the launch of Taurus and Display 3, the most significant hardware and software products from Martin Audio in the last decade. So just to recap, Martin Audio has been the king of optimized line arrays now for a decade or more. And they are fantastic at giving consistent coverage, consistent performance, and consistent level within an audience space. But to use those for distances of much less than 30 meters, in reality, is non-optimal. It's going to be expensive, and whilst you'll get a great result, it's perhaps overkill for that environment. Similarly, point source enclosures, whilst they will throw sound over distance, they're not going to throw it at the kind of levels that you require for 15 to 30 meters of throw, especially not if you want smooth coverage and something that's not too loud and abrasive at the front. And this is where Taurus fits in. Taurus is a constant curvature array designed to fill that gap perfectly, combining the kind of thing you'd expect from Martin Audio now, our optimized coverage through our display technology, our SPL profiling, and in a cost-efficient package that makes sense for those kind of throws. Taurus is 3 years in the making. We've put a lot of time into extensively mathematically modelling the acoustics through our BEM modelling and extensive mechanical design work with constant prototype and refinement throughout the process. Pushing acoustic boundaries with the intention of delivering something that we believe nobody else has, the definitive constant curvature array. Taurus overcomes typical constant curvature issues. So typically, a lot of manufacturers these days do make arrays with adjustable dispersion, but what tends to happen is people have a waveguide that's designed to have a fixed dispersion of something like 90 degrees, and then they just hinge the waveguide in. Now the problem is with this is it's not just the horn walls that dictate the dispersion of a waveguide, it's the entire geometry of the waveguide, its flare rate from the throat out to the mouth. And we wanted to go to new levels to improve that. Many constant curvature arrays lack sensitivity in the midband, so you'll see typically a direct radiating 12-inch driver or 15-inch driver might have quite good LF response, but then will drop off as it goes up in frequency, and they then require a lower crossover point into the HF device. They also suffer from comb filtering, so whilst waveguides are often designed to mean that the HF coverage is smooth as you transition between enclosures, once you're into the mid-range band, depending on the size of the array, they're just going to beam and side lobe, just like any sources would. And Taurus fundamentally addresses all of these problems. The dynamic horn flare, optimal horizontal pattern control. Each array element is designed to have adjustable horizontal pattern control within the dynamic horn flare. You can manually adjust from a 90-degree horizontal pattern to a 60-degree horizontal pattern, but you can also adjust asymmetrically to have 75 degrees in either aspect ratio. And the way that you do that is you rotate these two small tabs here at the top and bottom of the waveguide. And as I do that, you'll notice the geometry of the waveguide change from the 90-degree setting to the 30-degree setting. And a key element of that is that we've not just moved a sidewall, we've changed the flare rate and the whole geometry of the waveguide when we've made that adjustment. Those two adjustments on either side of the waveguide are accessible through the front of the grille. So we've been able to make something that you can easily adjust the horizontal pattern control of, but at the same time to keep a grille all the way across the front of the product, meaning that it has an elegant and discreet look when installed or deployed on a concert. So we have two angle cabinets for optimal vertical coverage. You can see here the 15-degree wall cabinet, the T1215, and over here the 30-degree wall cabinet, the T1230. 15-degree cabinet's got a little bit more output, as you would expect, so is for the longer throw applications, and then the 30-degree cabinet has a wider dispersion and a little bit less output. And those two cabinets can be mixed together within the hang and, of course, optimized to ensure that they have the right level and coverage pattern that you desire for your application. So, signature sound. It's important to us at Martin Audio that any of our products has our signature sound. We do things a little differently, and that heritage goes all the way back to the Philly shave systems that Dave Martin produced many moons ago now. So we start with the 12-inch driver. Firstly, you can see straight away it's got a phase plug in front of it. What that does is it lifts the sensitivity at the top end of the driver's performance, giving the overall enclosure a rising frequency response. And that allows us to get the maximum amount of output in the vocal range, but it also allows us to have a slightly higher crossover into the HF drivers. Because we have a rising response, in an array, we're then relying on the low-end performance from this unit to couple with its neighbours to bring that response back up to flat. In terms of the HF drivers themselves, we have three 1.4-inch dome compression drivers with a small exit. The reason that we do that is that they are light and they are fast and they can regenerate lots of high frequency. You would typically see in another product like this a big old 4-inch diaphragm compression driver maybe running at 800 or a kilohertz. The problem with that is the diaphragm's heavy and it's slow, and when it tries to create HF, it starts to wobble and manipulate, and you start to get lots and lots and lots of distortion. So at Martin Audio, by having more smaller drivers and a slightly higher crossover point out of our 12-inch driver here, we're able to have lots of very clean high-frequency response, but by having lots of drivers, we're still able to have the power that we require. And this is all optimized via our fantastic new piece of software, Display 3. Display 3 not only optimizes sound systems, but it also optimizes the performance between the drivers within one hang. And that's how we use our FIR know-how to make sure that we get rid of some of those comb filtering effects that you'd be used to in a constant curvature array. In terms of amplification, Taurus fits seamlessly into the Martin Audio ecosystem, and as such is powered via Icon amplifiers and controlled via our ViewNet software. There's an elegant switch on the back of the product, and that dictates which set of pins on the Neutrik connector feed the passive crossover and the subsequent transducers. And we do that so that we're able to run a 4-core cable up to a single cluster, link out to a couple of boxes below, and then have independent amplifier channels and, more importantly, DSP processing feeding different boxes within the hang off a single cable, so that we have a very neat and elegant plug-and-play solution, but some sophisticated processing ensuring the coverage is kept optimum. As you'd expect from us, it's a premium cabinet design with lots of flexible options for deployment. It's painted in our standard Warnex paint and made out of birch plywood, as you'd expect, and there's then easy positioned handles and lots of different options for hanging either in horizontal clusters of mixes of 15 and 30 degree cabinets all the way up to 180 degrees of dispersion, or indeed the other way up vertically in a 6 deep hang, rather like a line array. So rather than go through all of the accessories individually, here's a quick rigging video to take a look at how you would deploy Taurus in the real world. So hopefully you can see a very simple system to use and deploy, and very elegant rigging, easy to get your head round and easy to use. You can see on the bottom of this slide there are 3 accessories. The main fly frame itself, which can have our inclinometers attached to it and be deployed with Taurus for vertical drops. In the middle there you can see a little ground stack accessory that clips into the subwoofer and indeed then the top box, and allows you to have different angles. And then finally a transition frame, and that connects between the subwoofer offering, which as I've already hinted is the SXCF 118. In the front of the enclosure is a 4-inch voice coil 18-inch driver, and in the back of the enclosure is a 14-inch neodymium driver. And those are independently processed via our Icon amplifier with 2 independent channels of DSP to ensure that a maximum of about 30 dB of rejection happens with the cardioid pattern. And as you can see there, flies seamlessly above Taurus with an elegant transition frame for hanging the top boxes underneath. So in summary, it's a 12-inch LF driver with 3 1.4-inch diaphragm HF drivers above it, passive crossover network in between them. There's the manually adjustable dynamic horn flare between 60, 90 or asymmetrically at 75 degrees. There's 2 cabinet angles, so either the T1215 or the T1230 for 15 and 30 degree sidewalls. Phase bung for optimum midband sensitivity and therefore the most amount of vocal clarity as possible. And all of that coverage is optimized via our new Display 3 software and powered by our Icon amplifiers. It's a plug-and-play system, it's quick to set up, it's easy to rig, and it has everything you'd expect from a modern sound system, from Dante connectivity to 3D prediction software. Optimized for short to medium throw live sound and installation applications, and a whole wealth of different deployment options, from fills to distributed systems to vertical hangs to DJ monitors to center clusters. A truly versatile product, whether you're a touring company or indeed an installer. So Display 3, the most important software release in the company's history. Software for the modern era, so all new prediction software from us and optimization software at the same time. It's flexible and powerful and very, very professionally presented. It also works seamlessly with SketchUp, allowing users to pull very complex models in from SketchUp and map heat coverage patterns of the audio onto existing layers, as well as creating layers natively in the file and exporting them back out to SketchUp. It's a very, very, very powerful tool. In addition to that, you can, of course, have a native shape creation tool. And then one of the nice touches is we allow users to open Display 2 venues and clusters and bring those into a Display 3 environment. So for those looking to add some value to existing deployments as we start to get back to normality, you can have another look at original D2 mappings by bringing them into the software and plotting those into a 3D environment, really adding value to your customers and designs. Over time, Display 3 will incorporate all of Martin Audio's line array products and point source products, ceiling speakers, subs. Everything that Martin Audio make will exist in a Display 3 environment. To begin with, Display 3 is a beta invite only, but I'm delighted to say that by April, or during April, we'll have a full public release. Equally, Taurus will be available in your market from April. We're manufacturing in volume in March, and it'll take us a little bit of time to get that out into your distributors and channel partners' hands. So, Taurus and Display 3, together the most significant launches in the company's last 10 years, and from a software perspective, our biggest launch ever. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you today. Thank you for taking the time out of your day, and I look forward to enjoying our 50th year, rebuilding the industry together. Have a great day.